Ladies and gentlemen, I've covered a lot of interesting keyboards on the channel, affordable mechanical keyboards, gaming keyboards, premium keyboards, but I've never covered anything like this. In front of me is the Diviner by Datamancer. This is a $500 Victorian era inspired mechanical keyboard. And honestly, it's more of a work of art that just happens to also be a mechanical keyboard that you can plug into a computer. Unfortunately, I won't be giving one away because it's $500 and I don't even have this one to keep. Datamancer was just cool enough to send it out for a video because this is gonna be a very cool video. So starting off with the overview, I mentioned that it was Victorian era inspired, and you can definitely see that in the design and overview. It's got the whole wood and brass look, and it is real wood. I'll talk more about the build materials in a minute. But on top, you do have these little cool red jewel LED indicators that look absolutely phenomenal. Around back, you do have both rubber feet on the bottom two corners and raised feet, and these are interesting raised feet in that they're literally just these little brass knobs that screw into the wood frame, and if you screw it in further, then they're not as tall. But you can unscrew them and then it's a more of an angle, so that's how you adjust the height. Weird, but awesome. And then there's also this braided USB cable that's just a black braided USB cable that doesn't exactly go with the theme, but of course it does need to connect to our modern 21st century computers, and that's how it does so. So I mentioned build materials there. The whole frame is made out of choice poplar wood. No idea what that means, but that's what it's made out of, as well as these brass accents all around and the brass raised feet that I mentioned before. And it is real brass and it is real wood, so that's really cool to see. Obviously with $500, they're gonna make it look and feel the way it should, but it's Victorian inspired and it definitely is Victorian looking. So moving on to the layout, and this is where things get a little bit more interesting. Unfortunately, it's not a perfect layout. I would have liked to see a perfect layout, but you got a little bit of a small backspace key, a little bit of a small enter key, and definitely a small shift key. And it's not the biggest deal in the world. You can still use them, but I always use my right pinky for those things, and they are a little bit small. But then you just got to keep in mind, this is a work of art above all. It just happens to also be a keyboard that works, and you can definitely still use it with no problem. You'll get used to it in like a week or something, but they do have some small keys there. And honestly, it really just seems like the key caps aren't that big. The switch is there, so they could probably make just a bigger key cap that goes on there, but still, it works. So moving on to the keycaps, they're round, they're typewriter vintage inspired to match the Victorian theme, and it works. They're covered in a metal ring with a glass insert. It's a little bit concave, and then the text is below that glass, so the text isn't gonna fade or anything. It already has the vintage font and everything, and it's not gonna fade. The only complaint with the keycaps here is that they're kind of small, so they can kind of only fit your fingertip. They fit them well because they're circular and concave, so it fits right in there. But they're a little bit small, not ideal for typing, but it definitely adds to the look and overall aesthetic of the keyboard. And then lastly, the switches underneath those are Cherry MX Blues. Now the switches and the housing for the switches are painted brown, so it matches the aesthetic because you can actually see the exposed switches on the wood frame here, but they are painted brown to match the look, and that works, and they definitely feel like Cherry MX Blues. I'll show that in a typing test. But interestingly, there's also these dip switches on the back that you may have noticed earlier, and those will allow you to switch between different key layouts and whatnot. Another really modern implementation into this kind of old-fashioned antique keyboard. But of course, this is an MS Tech keyboard video. There is a typing test. I'm gonna load one up. We're gonna see how it performs. Kind of a depressing typewriter there, but 110 words per minute. So despite the small keycaps and the weird layout, I was still able to type plenty fast on this thing. So conclusion time with the Diviner by Datamancer. Now Datamancer actually has a lot of other really special, unique, handcrafted keyboards that if you want me to take a look at, let me know in the comments down below and I'll see if they're willing to send them out. But conclusion time for this keyboard, and this would be true for probably all their keyboards. Are they practical and worth it? Obviously not. They are $500, $600, $700, $1,000 keyboards. They're not just meant to be keyboards. They are works of art. Look at this keyboard. Yes, I can type a normal speed on it. Yes, I can use it as a normal keyboard, but you're not gonna buy this just because you want a really good keyboard experience. You're gonna buy this because you have a dope Victorian themed room or setup or desk that you want a keyboard to match, or you just have like a showcase, something like that. Probably I doubt any of you guys are gonna actually go out and buy this $500 work of art. But if you do, tweet at me with a picture, because that's dope. Thank you for watching, subscribe to see more content, and as always, stay classy, like this keyboard. It's classy, get it? Ha.